Welcome to lesson 5.5, point slope form of a linear equation. So in lessons 5.1 through 5.4, we've been working with slope-intercept form, so y equals mx plus b. In this lesson, we are going to explore another form of equations for writing the equation of a line. And in this case, that form is point slope form. So from the title, it's going to involve using a point and the slope as part of your equation. So our formula, or our equation, I should say, for point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m, which m is still our slope, and then in parentheses multiplied by x minus x sub 1. Now, finding slope or m is still the same process. What eventually gets replaced in our equation is the y1, the m, and the x1. The first y and the first x here stay as variables in the final equation. So it's going to be y minus something equals a number, then in parentheses, x plus or minus something. So really to use point slope form, if you're given 2 points, there's only 2 steps to figure out point slope form. The first is find the slope using the 2 points. And then the second is use the slope in our equation for m. So we're going to write the slope in for m in point slope form. And then we're going to use either point that they gave us as x1, y1. So we could use this point or this point to write our final equation. So let's look at this process in a few examples. So if we are given 2 points that a line goes through, to write our point slope form equation, we first find the slope. So change in y over change in x. So looking at these 2 numbers, on top are y values, 3 and 1. On bottom are x, 5 and 1. So 3 minus 1 over 5 minus 1 is 2/4, which is the same as 1/2. So I know m is 1/2. Then I can select either point, the 1, 1, or the 5, 3, for my final equation. I'm going to use the 5, 3. So in this case, y minus y1, the 3 goes in for y1. So it'd be y minus 3 equals m, our slope, 1/2. Then in parentheses, x minus x1. So x minus 5, because the 5 here goes in for x1. If you wrote this equation as y minus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus 1, that's fine too. You just use this point. So your final equation will involve one of your points, 5, 3, and the slope 1/2. So let's look at B. In B, we first need to find our slope. So on top, change in y, -3 minus a -4 is a -3 plus 4. On bottom, 5 minus 3. So that gives us a slope of a positive 1/2. Then I can choose either point to put in for x1, y1. So I'm going to use 3, -4. So the 3 goes in for x1, -4 for y1. So then our equation would be y plus 4, because it'd be y minus a -4, -4 here for y1. So y minus a -4 is y plus 4 equals our slope 1/2. Then in parentheses, x minus x1, which because I'm using this point would be a 3. So let's look at C and D. In C, I need to find my slope first. So on top, -3 minus 6. On bottom, 8 minus a -4, which is 8 plus 4. So my slope is a -9 over 12, which simplifies to a -3 over 4. So m is a -3/4. select a point to use. I'm going to use 8, -3. So to start with, the -3 goes in for y1. So y minus a -3 is y plus 3 equals our slope, -3/4. Then in parentheses, x minus x1, so x minus 8. And there's our equation for that line. And then same thing with D. In D, we have our 2 points, so find the slope. -8 minus -6 on top is -8 plus 6. On bottom, 5 minus -1 is 5 plus 1. So my slope is a -2/6, or a -1/3. Then I need a point for x1, y1, so I'm going to use 5, -8. So -8 goes in for y1, so y minus a -8 is y plus 8 equals our slope, -1/3, times x minus x1, so x minus 5. So once you find the slope, you're going to use the slope for m and one of these 2 points for x1, y1 to write your equation in point slope form here. Now let's move down to example 2. The other thing that you'll be asked to do is to write point slope form of an equation to start, and then to rewrite that into slope intercept form. Now in this case, they already gave us a point and the slope. So we don't even need to find the slope. We just need to first write our equation in point slope form. So y minus y1, if y1's a -5, y minus a -5 is y plus 5, equals our slope of 2, then in parentheses, x minus x1, so a -3 turns that to x plus 3. So right here is my point slope form, so that part's taken care of. Now, how do I go from point slope form to slope intercept form? What you need to do is you want to distribute your slope. So use the distributive property to multiply it by each part of the inside of the parentheses. And then what we want to do is solve the equation to get y alone. That'll give us y equals mx plus b format. So the first thing we're going to do is use distributive property on this right-hand side. So 2 times x plus 2 times 3. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. So now I bring down what I had on the left. Y plus 5 equals 2x plus 6. I want to get the y alone. I'm writing this into y equals mx plus b. So I need to subtract the 5 from each side. So then that would leave me with y equals 2x, and 6 minus 5 is a positive 1. So up here is our point slope form. Then you use the distributive property and solve for y to get slope intercept form right here. And these 2 equations would give us the same line. So in B, -1, 9, and our slope is a -2. So first write that in point slope form. So it's y minus 9 equals -2 times x plus 1. Then we need to go through the algebra. So we need to distribute the -2. -2 times x, -2 times 1 gives me y minus 9 equals -2x minus 2. Then I want to get y alone, so instead of subtracting 9, I'm going to add 9 to each side, and y would equal a -2x plus 7. So then in C, we have the point -6, 8, slope of -1. So the 8 goes in for y1, -6 for x1. So we end up with y minus 8 equals a -1, then in parentheses, x plus 6 from the x minus -6. Then I need to distribute my -1 to the x and the 6. So -1 times x is a -x. -1 times +6 is a -6. So I have y minus 8 equals -x minus 6. I need to undo the -8, so add 8 to each side, and y would equal the opposite of x, or -x, plus 2. And last but not least, example D. We have a point and our slope, so we're first going to write point-slope form equation. So it'd be y minus y sub 1, which is -2, so y plus 2 equals our slope 1/4, in parentheses x minus x sub 1, so x minus 4. Now we need to distribute the 1/4 times x and the 1/4 times -4, which gives us 1/4 x minus 1. So we have y plus 2 equals 1/4 x minus 1. Get rid of the adding 2 on the side of y, so subtract 2 from each side, and y would equal 1/4 x minus 3. So in example 2 here, you first write it in point-slope form, then you distribute on the right-hand side, and then you undo the addition or subtraction on the side with y to get your slope-intercept form, meaning y is alone, equals our slope times x plus or minus our y-intercept.